So I have a commenter here who wants me to talk about how the guy who broke the lover girl's heart is obsessed. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. She says, do you have one for obsession? I have been told I have someone who acts obsessive towards me, and I was curious. So yeah, I just did one on stalking, but obsession, a lot of times when you have someone that broke your heart or could not show up for you and you were a lover girl, you were all into them, and they broke your heart and they couldn't show up for you, and they know they couldn't show up for you, and so they leave your life in a painful way. A lot of times they become obsessed with you. And the reason they become obsessed with your energy, your light, your aura, your funness. I don't know if that's a word or not. I think I just made that up. Your bubbliness, your attitude, your innocence, your essence, aura, all of that. Those are such good vibes. That also may be such a foreign concept to them. So a lot of times people become obsessed with what they don't have, what they've never experienced, and what they maybe want more of for themselves. But they don't want to seem weak or inferior, or they don't like how you make them feel weak or inferior. And this is to no fault of your own, but a lot of times people will become weak and inferior and feel obsessed with traits and qualities that they don't have. And so they study you. They may even, mirror or mimic you. So they'll take. That's why a lot of women, when they break up with men, or when men break up with them, that's why, they're able to spot, hey, he took parts of my personality with him to the next woman. He's literally taking, all the aspects of me that I showed him, and it's really me that's dating the next woman, because he's literally copy and pasting all of you, your personality, your mannerism, your language, the way that you speak, the ease, your confidence, your authenticity. He's studying that and takes that for himself, and he adds that to his repertoire and how he shows up for women in relationships, because he can't do it. So, but they'll trust you, and he likes you, but he can't tell you that. But those women will trust you. They might not trust him, but they'll trust you, and they'll trust your personality. So, hey, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that, and I'm going to stick that in my back pocket, and I'm going to use that. There's also an aspect of like, what is that personality? You being like that, what does that get you? Where does that get you in life? What kind of people does that attract for you in your life? And so that can also become, people can also become obsessed and ruminate over that. I've done a viral video way back then about how men want what women have. A lot of men want what women have and what women get just for being a woman, just for stepping outside, which is attention. And so a lot of men want that attention, because on an average day, on any given day, an average man isn't necessarily, many women might not be paying attention to him like that, for an average dude, so, but they want that. They covet that attention. They want the cat calls. They want women to fawn all over them, and all of those things which you don't necessarily want, but comes naturally to you for the simple fact that you are a woman. You might be sexy, you might be alluring, you might just be very feminine in your own energy and in your own world, and that works for you. But that is something that they very much covet. You may have people in your life that love you, want to show up for you, that believe in your shine and support you in ways that they don't, and they want that. They covet. But they also become very stuck in their insecurity if you were to take that bubbly personality, those dashing good looks, and you were attracting a wonderful man. that also makes him feel wounded and inferior. And it also makes him have to take a good hard look at himself. And many men don't like to do that. Instead, they like to call you out of your name, say you were this and that, you thought you were too good, you were doing this and that and the other thing. And so there is still this obsession for just you, your energy, and then also too what your energy may bring to him. A lot of times women that are lover girls that have a good vibe, positive aura, you bring a lot of goodness into a person's life that they otherwise don't have. Their life might be sad, it might be lonely, it might be destitute. They might be in their home with only 2 sticks of furniture. And so when you come into their life, and I'm not saying this for everybody, but what I'm saying, when you come into their life, it's almost like you bring spring. Like a lot of people are saying, I look like spring today. So you might be bringing spring, you might be bringing summer, you're bringing a whole vibe. You're livening up the room for them. And that's not something that they have when you're gone. And so with that, their life is literally changing for the better when you come into their life. And then when you're gone, that energy that you brought with you is also gone. And so a lot of people desire the energy and the vibe and what came with you, and they become obsessed with trying to have that. And that's also why a lot of people mirror and try to copy and paste too, because they think if they do things like that, they will also harness that energy, that personality, that vibe, that spirit that you have for themselves. But it's much more complicated than that. That's why, people can, like myself, I say it too, I'm often imitated but never duplicated, because there's only one. You might regurgitate my words and the things that I say, but my personality, everything else, those things are things that make me up and that can never be taken. They are literally AI before AI, if that makes sense. And so they become obsessed with trying to get that back in any way necessary. That's why they might come back into your life for a short period if they're not having success, they're not having luck, and they often don't like admitting that, because that also means that they failed in some way. If a person is ruled by ego, they don't like admitting that they failed, or that their life sucks, or they couldn't move on like they thought they could when they had you. When they fumbled you, they thought that they had better opportunities, or that they thought that they were the shit now that you were in their life, and you brought a certain type of energy. You may have helped them attract a certain type of people. And when you're gone, they found out that, hey, I ain't that. And, so there's a lot that kind of goes into that. This is just a short amount of that in a 10-minute video. So I hope that helps. Thanks so much.